never should have walked that way. Even as a kid, I'd heard the stories. Everyone in Denton knew you didn't cross Goatman's Bridge alone at night. People swore bad things happened there. Cars breaking down, electronics failing, strange figures lurking in the woods. Some even said they'd seen it. The Goatman. But I never put much thought in it. Just a dumb legend to keep kids from messing around where they shouldn't. Until that night. I was walking home from my buddy's place after a long night of drinking. My duplex was on the other side of the bridge, and taking the main roads would have added another 20 minutes to the walk. So, like an idiot, I decided to cut across Old Alton Bridge. It was past 2 in the morning, and the world felt off. The rain from earlier had left everything damp, the air thick with the scent of wet dirt and damp forest. The only sound was the occasional drip of water falling from the trees. The second I stepped onto the bridge, it was too quiet. No crickets, no rustling leaves, not even the hum of distant traffic, just the creak of wood beneath my feet. My stomach twisted, an instinctual reaction, like something deep inside me knew I wasn't supposed to be here. Just bad energy all around, I felt. I quickly picked up my pace. Then I heard it, out of nowhere. It sounded like heavy hooves against wood. I stopped dead in my tracks. The sound had come from behind me. I was drunk as hell that night, but let me tell you, I sobered up real quick when shit started to go down. As I started to turn slowly, I noticed a figure, something standing at the far end of the bridge. A tall, imposing figure, just standing there. At first, I told myself it was a person, that it's the alcohol, just some other late-night walker, just my eyes playing tricks on me. It was standing up like a man would. Then, it took a step forward. Clop, clop. The dim moonlight hit its legs and left side of its body. I swear, I had an out-of-body experience that moment. Everything was in slow motion. My mind wasn't registering. Its legs were bent the wrong way, like an animal's. Thick, matted fur clung to unnatural joints, its hooves pressing into the damp wooden planks. I couldn't move, not because I was scared, though I was, but because something held me in place. A pressure surrounded me, pressing against my skin, pushing into my skull. I could hardly breathe. It was shallow and strained, like I was breathing in something thick and heavy. A low, disturbing voice popped inside my head. I heard it. "You already know me." The voice didn't come from the figure. It didn't come from anywhere. It was inside me. My body locked up. My arms stiffened at my sides. My legs like lead. The shape started taking slow, deliberate steps forward. Clop, clop. I could see more of it now. Elongated arms, clawed hands, fur covering its chest, its torso long and stretched too thin. Its entire body twitched in subtle, unnatural jerks, like a puppet with loose strings. I wanted to scream, run, anything to get the hell out of Dodge. But my body didn't belong to me anymore in that moment. "It's easier this way." A warmth spread through my chest. My heartbeat slowed. The words slithered through my mind, soft and patient this time. The terror I felt moments ago started to fade. Not completely, just enough. Enough to make me stop resisting. Enough to make me listen. The creature took another step. Clop, clop. I should have been horrified. I should have been panicking. Instead, the warmth deepened, curling through my limbs like an embrace. The weight I'd been carrying in my life, the exhaustion, the stress, my divorce and loneliness, all of it started to disappear. So much easier. I exhaled, slow and even. My hands unclenched, My shoulders loosened. For the first time in what felt like years, I felt at peace. The Goatman raised one clawed hand and beckoned, and I obeyed. My feet moved on their own. One step, then another. The bridge stretched before me, endless and empty, the water below glinting in the moonlight. That's right. The closer I got, the lighter I felt, like I wasn't even walking anymore, like I was floating. The railing was just ahead. It would be so easy. A single step, a single breath, and I would be free. The figure stood only a few feet away now. Its face, God, its face. A distorted goat's face, twisted horns curling back from its head. And its eyes, they burned, this dull, sickly yellow color. They stared deep into mine, peeling me open, pulling something out of my soul. I placed my hands on the railing. My breath evened out. My knees bent. I was ready. Then I heard a sound. Something small, insignificant, a faint creak of wood beneath my fingers. Now, whenever I'm out at the bar drinking with the boys, or doing carpentry work, I always carry a pocket knife on me. I keep it tucked away in my right pocket. It's been a part of my daily wear for years, plus my father gave it to me. It never leaves my side. Better to have it than not have it. It also came in handy for opening beer tops. My right hand unlatched from the railing. I had no control of it. I dug into my right pocket, grabbed my blade, and flicked it open. Now, this part will forever be carved in my memory, haunting my sleep for eternity. My arm slowly raised the blade to my throat. I tried fighting so hard to stop it. My arm was trembling like I had Tourette's syndrome. Go on, do it. The voice was whispering in my head. I don't know. In that moment, I just realized how wrong everything felt, especially when that blade came out. The warmth in my chest started disappearing. My senses started coming back to reality. I don't know if it was because of the alcohol in my veins, but the spell this creature had over me was fading away a little bit. Not physically, but consciously. Enough to bring me back to understand what the hell was going on. Terror came rushing back, hitting me like a wave. I wasn't supposed to be here. I wasn't supposed to do this. But my body, it still wasn't listening. The knife was literally on my neck now, the blade shaking against my throat. I looked down, and I could see my blood leaking onto my white sweater. My knees bent deeper, my left grip tightened on the railing. I tried to pull away, but I couldn't. I wasn't strong enough. The Goatman tilted its head, watching me with patient, unblinking eyes. I knew what this thing was trying to get me to do. All the stories and legends came crashing into my conscience, of all the history and death revolving around this bridge. Cut. Jump. The words slammed into me. Firm, commanding, final. I was gasping sharp, broken noises, the blade penetrating my flesh even deeper. My thoughts barely registered, only the thoughts to fight and break free from this nightmare. My fingers curled tighter around the railing, nails digging into the damp wood. I was fighting to unlatch from the railing and get the fuck out of there. I looked down. The water below me shimmered in the moonlight, like a glassy, endless black. Just cut yourself and let go. The voice was still gentle, trying to be reassuring, trying to soothe me into slicing my throat and falling to my death to bleed out, like a parent coaxing a child to bed. I still tried shaking out of it, even though I wasn't completely under this thing's spell. My body still wasn't mine anymore. I was going to jump. I knew it. The Goatman knew it. My blood was pouring like a faucet at this time. I could feel the warm blood running down my skin and hand. Only reason I didn't hit an artery and bleed out right away was because I was resisting the pressure and force away from my neck as much as I could. I could feel this thing was pleased. I could feel its excitement inside my mind. I could feel it radiating from those piercing yellow eyes. The way it stood so still, so patient, so sure of its victory to grab another soul. It had done this before. It had led others to this moment, to the edge, to their deaths, because they hadn't broken free. You're almost there. A shudder racked through me. I tried to pull back one last time. The weight in my chest coiled tighter. I thought, this was it. People are gonna think I got drunk and killed myself because I couldn't handle my wife leaving me. My strength was fading out, trying to keep myself from cutting deeper. But just as I was going to sink the blade in and jump to my death, a sound, a loud ringtone from my phone in my back pocket. My eyes slowly snapped to my left. The world around me sharpened for the first time in minutes, like someone had yanked me out of deep water. The weight didn't totally disappear, but it cracked. A wave of nausea hit me so hard I thought I'd vomit. No. The voice snapped through my head like a whip, but now I recognized it for what it was. I tilted my head to the right and glanced at the creature. The goatman's head tilted left and right, looking around me like it was confused. My phone ring must have broken its concentration, because for one precious second, I could move a little. My eyes glanced down at my right hand, and I dropped the blade instantly. I tore my left hand from the railing and stumbled back. My legs were like lead. My body fought me, limbs sluggish and stiff. You can't leave. The words were sharp now, laced with something that wasn't patience anymore. The goatman took another step forward. Clop, clop. I jerked back further. It felt like I was breaking free from a deep REM sleep. My limbs still tangled in the dream, body sluggish, desperate to sink back into it. The weight returned, crushing, unbearable. The air turned solid, pressing against my chest. My vision darkened at the edges. My adrenaline picked up. My legs began to move faster and faster, backing up. I knew I couldn't get stuck in this thing's trance again. If I did, it was over for me. Not a whisper this time, but a command. Come back. I felt it trying to claw back into my mind. The voice ripped through me, a shockwave that sent me staggering. My ears rang, my thoughts blurred. Then it screamed. A primal shrieking so deep, so loud, that the bridge shook beneath me. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to move. I snapped out of it, turned and ran. My legs barely worked at first. I started off with a sluggish jog, but I forced them forward, and with each step, my flight and fight response kicked in. Behind me, I could hear its hooves. Thinking back now, I truly believe this thing's powers became less and less as I got further away from that bridge. I kept running for a few hundred yards. I looked over my shoulder. It was chasing me. I could hear its breathing. It was that close. It wasn't walking anymore. It was pacing right behind me. I sprinted with everything I had, my feet slamming against the planks. The end of the bridge seemed miles away in the moment. I finally spotted the road ahead, so I just kept running as fast I could. As soon as my foot left that bridge and hit solid ground, this thing let out a huge roar. I kept running a few hundred yards away from the bridge. I stopped to catch my breath and looked back. That goatman was there, pacing back and forth in the moonlight, at the edge of the bridge, staring at me. Now, I wasn't gonna stand there all night and admire that damn thing. I got the hell out of there and didn't dare look back. Even as my body screamed for rest, even as I felt my own pulse throbbing behind my eyes, I didn't stop. I ran until the bridge was gone, until the night felt normal again, until the world made sense. I stumbled home, looking like I'd just survived a stabbing with all the blood covering my neck and sweater. I don't remember unlocking my door, or collapsing onto the floor, or shaking so hard my teeth chattered. I don't take the bridge anymore. I never will again. But sometimes, late at night, I hear hooves on a bridge in the back of my mind. I know it's still there, waiting for the next fool to walk its path. And the phone call that night, it was from my ex-wife. She was calling to pick the rest of her things up. Even though she cheated on me and took everything I had, I wasn't mad at her anymore. I was actually grateful, because that phone ring saved my life. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe to Descent into the Unknown for more horror content. If you have any real cryptid encounters, or you're a horror writer wanting to share your stories, please feel free to email me in the description anytime.